And we're back once again, only on It Is Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on It Is the Last Call YouTube channel. Joining me now on the line or in location, this man here, well, he's getting his big chance finally. He'll be only on Showtime. It'll be June 10th. It's a 4-fight card on televised all the way from Turning Stone during the Hall of Fame weekend. And this man here is going to be part of it. I give you, all the way from Tennessee. I give you undefeated boxing sensation. I give you it's Tyler Tomlin. Tyler, so it's you. It's your opponent. I'm going to probably butcher his name. I do apologize here.
Right.
It's Shan Thonson here.
Yes,
how big
Chan
is it for
Thompson.
you? How big is it being on TV? Because that means a little more money. That means a lot more exposure, and it's during the Boxing Hall of Fame weekend.
Yeah, being around that many, greats, like you said, the Boxing Hall of Fame event, and then just being on TV, we felt like we've been ready for an opportunity like this for a long time. And quite honestly, felt like we should have been on TV a long time ago. So now that I finally had this opportunity, I plan on getting on there, taking all that exposure in and making the most of it with a great fight and moving on to my 14th win.
How much does this change in terms of for you? It's different from untelevised fights because you don't have to worry about media, you don't have to worry about preparation, you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff here. Now that you're on TV, it's okay. Well, more interviews, more media, more appearances. Hey, there's press conferences here. I mean, how tough is it now, like planning your time so that you can do all this and yet still train properly for this fight?
Yeah, that's definitely be something to navigate as we go. This is our first go at it being on TV like this. The scheduling with all the media, the interviews, and then obviously flying out to New York, having the weight cut right. All I can say is I've got a great team around me and they're going to have me ready for everything, but it's definitely going to be a little bit different.
Break down your opponent. It's Chan Thonson. You're one of a few Americans on this card. Everybody else is from an international place. A
Yes, they
Canadian
are.
fighter. He mostly has fought out of last couple fights. Urushe Santa Maria. He's fought in Canada. He's fought in the United States. Like, what kind of fighter is he? What do you when you and your team break him down? What kind of challenge does he bring compared to, let's say, past opponents?
Yeah, he's got a lot of different similarities with a lot of guys I've fought. I don't think he's got a whole lot to offer with his front hand. I think he's got a good right hand. That's definitely something we're looking out for. But I feel like no matter where the fight goes, I've got the advantage. I feel like I've got the speed advantage. I feel like I've got the power advantage. So no matter if it's an inside fight, outside fight, whatever the case is, I feel like no matter what, I'm going to be in control of the fight. So as all my fights go, I plan on pushing the pace, applying pressure, and just seeing what happens. If he wants to get into a dogfight, I'm down for that. But I'd love to sit outside and box as well.
Last question. We'll let my co-host Casca Akashova take over on this. He's never fought anybody really who's had a winning record outside of his last opponent. Most of these guys he's faced have been 0-4, 4-3, 1-1. A couple guys who were 7-40. Last opponent was coming off a 3-fight losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you look at this fight and go, I have the advantage that he's never faced anybody of my caliber. I faced guys pretty good. Your last couple fights, you'd fought guys such as, Charlie Serrano, as Ira Terry. He hasn't fought that level yet. How much do you feel that gives you that advantage?
Oh, yeah, it definitely is a huge advantage. And then, like you said, it being on TV, it's a big event. I've been on big events before. I fought at places like Bridgestone Arena. I fought on some smaller TV with RJJ and whatnot. So I'm going to get in there. I've got the experience on my side, and I just plan on getting in there and hurting him early and just seeing how he reacts to it, kind of thing. If he stays composed, then I might be in for 8 rounds and go win a unanimous decision. But I hope to go in there early, crack him hard, and just kind of see how he reacts to it, since he's never been in there with somebody like me.
Now that's always the interesting part. What is somebody like you? I always find it interesting when someone says that.
Yeah, somebody's got speed, somebody's got power. I'm a young guy, up and coming prospect. I can kind of fight from every facet, and Chan Thonson hasn't been in there with anybody like that. A lot of the fights I've watched with him, he's fought guys that aren't very good, that back up a lot. So what is Chan Thonson going to do when I apply the pressure?
So you're way more the aggressive type. You like that
Yeah, it's
fight.
definitely the aggression. I do like that fight. But like I
You
said, I
look
can do it
forward
from
to it.
inside out.
And that's what I like to hear. I think that's what makes a good fighter, besides a lot of people who maybe perhaps new to the sport, or if they watch the sport quite frequently. I think that's what is so interesting about it. Not only the discipline and what it takes to be, whether you're naturally talented or just dedicated on its own, um, is the different little certain tweaks or attributes that each individual has, and also that fighting spirit. I think that's what gets me, is the fighting spirit that I find so and this might sound funny, heartwarming.
Yeah, definitely. And
It's
I
it
think
for me, it's
that's
endearing because that's what lures me to the fight.
yeah, that's why boxing is as great as it is. I always say also that the best boxers are fighters turn boxers. You look at guys like Floyd that are supposed to be the best boxers in the world. You look at them early in their career, man, they're fighters. So I know at the end of the day, if it comes to a fight, I can fight Chan Thompson and beat him that way. But I just want to box, apply a little bit of pressure, and just take over the fight and see how it goes.
Absolutely, and I think that's what makes the difference between individuals. You have to want it.
Mhm.
You have to want that fight, you have to go after it, and you have to learn what your opponent has, and you have to learn your strengths and weaknesses. And that what makes the difference, and also for the people who are watching you as well.
Yeah, for sure.
What about you, Chris?
I just want over here because it's the Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, and you as yourself are a fighter. You're talking about all this, and I know that Casca and I were talking here. What is that like? Being in a place, fighting in a place now where there will be boxing fans, not guys who are going, yeah, well, it's just stand and bang, bro, stand and bang, or knock him in the
The
cooler. These are people
accuracy.
who
Oh
actually
my.
know boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, if you knew my crowd, I love my crowd. They get rowdy. I've got a huge fan base, but there's a lot of those at my fights. They want to see me get into slugfest. But I think some of these boxing fans at somewhere like this, they're going to appreciate the art of it all a little more. They're going to appreciate the body work. They're going to appreciate the combinations, the distancing of things a little bit better than, say, I love my crowd. I have nothing against my crowd, but somebody that wants to see a fight, some of these venues, you never know what kind of fans you're going to get. But somewhere like this, it could be some of the boxing greats around. There's going to be amazing media people there. And that's where I want to showcase my skills, especially being on a platform like Showtime, being on TV. I want to get in there and look my best.
Since you're fighting that particular weekend of the Hall of Fame, what Hall of Famer would you love to meet?
Oh my goodness.
Too many, right? Too
Oh,
many.
then I feel like I could run on a list. Who are all the inductees this year? Do you have that off the top of your head?
I think there's
Well,
probably
this
a
year for
few, right?
2022 cast, because they're doing it's weird. We were talking about this. There's two weird classes. So 2022, you got Roy Jones Jr., you got
I've met Roy.
Miguel Cotto, and you got James Toney, or the whoever, if you can understand James Toney.
Wait, you went
21 class with that whole class.
I think my promoter had some things to do with Tony there for a little bit. Cotto would be great to meet. My dad, also a huge boxing fan. He wants to meet Mike Tyson so bad. I have no
Who
clue.
doesn't, right?
I know, right? My dad wants to meet him so bad. On the off chance that Mike Tyson is there, we've got to link up. I got to do that for my dad.
I would love to meet Mike Tyson. I mean, not only because of his natural talent and capabilities, but I mean, the other things that he's done and known for. I mean, his cameos, his cartoon. I don't know if you've seen Mike Tyson Mysteries. That's amazing. And just the little things that he ends up popping up for, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Random airplane fight videos.
Yes, that guy deserved it. Anyone who does that,
100%.
I would punch the guy in the face too.
For sure.
I'm Russian and Swedish. That guy deserves it.
Now, it's gonna be weird for you when there's also guys like Vladimir Klitschko and Andre Ward and Layla Ali, who you probably have been around or you've done stuff with, or you've been in training camps with, or you just walked around, because it's not like Tony and Roy Jones, who maybe you saw them fight, maybe not. Klitschko, everybody remembers. Andre Ward, young people remember. So would that be like something where you go, oh crap, there's Vladimir Klitschko, there's Andre Ward, there's Layla Ali,
definitely.
People that you can remember watching fight.
Yeah, it's people you've watched fight growing up. It's people that you take things from, take stylistically from. It's people that have done everything in the sport that you want to do. And there's definitely a moment where it's like, dang, like there's Andre Ward. Like I've watched so many different like interviews and things with him and seen him in so many different fights do so many amazing things. So I'll have that moment for sure, but I think that's going to be like when I have that moment, it's going to be the realization that I've kind of taken that next step in my career. So when that happens, I'll let it happen, let that moment pass by, take that next step, and get in there and get after it.
It sounds like you admire his career. So I guess in that
Yeah,
case,
definitely.
whose career do you most admire then?
Oh my goodness.
Right? Because I think that's a really
All,
good question. There's some that you would love to meet, but it doesn't mean that you would like to follow after their career per se.
yeah. I like Andre's career just because everything he did in boxing, and then I felt like he got out at the right time. And that's definitely something I admire. You see some of these guys stay in too long for the paydays.
Mhm.
They aren't smart with their business decisions. And I plan
Absolutely.
on being smart with my business decisions, getting in there, winning titles, getting in the fights that I want for the fans, and then getting out, not staying in too long.
Absolutely. And I think also surrounding yourself with the right people,
Yes,
whether
big
it's
time.
professionally, personally, you know what I'm saying. And,
Yeah.
social media obviously is a huge part of business nowadays. So what you put out there, how you build your business, etc. So I think that's a very smart thing to do to emulate is find someone that you admire and see how did they do that. Obviously, depending upon what era they're from, might be
Yeah,
a little
things
bit
change a little
different
different. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they were in the 90s as
Yeah,
opposed to
definitely a little
today.
harder to navigate these days, but also in a positive way. You have a lot more different ways to connect to fans and things like that than those past fighters did. So you get to be a little more personable and create a better brand, I think. But yes, as far as career goes, there's a lot of different guys I look at, kind of structure my career after, like at what age were they fighting, what level of competition, and kind of just take those stairs as they go.
Absolutely. So what's a good way and that you think that you get in touch with your fans? You said you have a lot of rowdy ones, so I'm sure that they
Oh my
comment a lot.
goodness. Yes, rowdy is an understatement, I feel like. And I've said that to him before. I love him to death for it, though. One of the best fan bases in boxing, I think. Of course, I'm on social media, all that good stuff, but also go talk to a lot of different schools. The kids around here are amazing, so I try to do as much as I can for them. And I think younger fans, by the time I get a little bit older, they're going to be some of the biggest fans. I think that's really cool to interact with them at such a young
Absolutely.
age. So there's a lot of different ways. I try to reply to everybody I can on Twitter and Instagram and things like that. So
Do you go on live a lot so that people can kind of
I don't
read
go live
through?
that much. I
Oh,
definitely plan on going live after the Showtime win, though. No doubt about that.
see,
I might
there
be
you go.
in the
Something
back
to
of the
look.
locker room just going live with the rest of the team. So
Absolutely. See, you could put a little story out and say, "Hey guys, I'm
yeah.
going live," and let your fans know, and they'll be all the rage. I'm sure they'll be commenting some rowdy things about that.
For sure, especially if it's right after the fight. I'm sure they have all kinds of nice things to say.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Once again, if you're just tuning in, we got his Tyler Tomlin here. We got a Casca Akashova. We're talking all things, of course, his upcoming fight. We're talking his style. We're talking even Hall of Fame weekend, who he wants to meet. Take me to the last fight here, because it was Winifred Dunn Center at Austin P University. It was, a big fight. A lot of people were there. You were the main event of that. What was that like, where it's now they're traveling? You've been fighting for a long time in Tennessee. Now it's going, okay, we're going to have you travel. We're going to see if fans will follow you to Florida, if they'll follow you to New York. I mean, what is that like when you know that your people or your fans are going, have ticket, we'll travel, we'll follow this guy here?
Yeah, it's amazing to have the fans come out. I love fighting at home, but we had talked with Lou. It's kind of time to take that next step. It's time to travel a little bit, fight on some of these big cards. And Lou, he did. He came out and gave us this fight opportunity, and we took it without even thinking much about it. We feel like we're ready for it to be put in front of an audience like that. I've got an amazing fan base in Tennessee, and I'm going to bring some huge boxing in Tennessee. Hopefully, we can eventually get Showtime in Nashville and do a big event somewhere like Bridgestone, put me on the main event, something like that. But I I plan on bringing some fans to New York Hall of Fame weekend. I know a lot of people have already messaged me, told me they bought tickets. So hopefully see a lot of short fuse gear out there in the crowd.
Oh, there you go. Well, since your home base is Tennessee, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you have a lot of great music. Are you going to bring some of the great music to New York then?
If they'll come out, I'll have for sure. What Jelly Roll was at my last fight. I'm not sure if you know who that is, but a great musician. And there's just so many great musicians that are kind of intertwined. It is with boxing and even the NBA and rappers and musicians. There's always a crossover right there. So definitely when I bring some big things like that to Nashville, all those people are going to come out. But hopefully I'm bringing a couple to New York as well.
Well, there you go.
I got to jump in and ask this here because this has been one of the biggest news things here. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, 2022 inductees. You had Eminem, you had Duran, and she's now officially said she's going to do it. That's Dolly Parton. She is Nashville royalty.
Yes, she is.
I'm guessing I probably
she didn't want to be inducted.
It's impossible. Is she rock and roll in your mind? Is Dolly Parton rock and roll, or is she country? Because you are a guy who listens to a lot of music. You understand music here. Right. Is she rock and roll?
I haven't listened to a ton of Dolly. I wouldn't think so. I would think country, like older folk kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't think rock and roll. But you said Eminem too. I know Eminem uses a lot of like rock samples and things like that. So that kind of makes sense.
He's more rap. That's what. Yeah. I think she's just Tennessee royalty. Like she's been around so long that she's just kind of.
She just put her in everything.
Exactly. She's kind of done so many collaborations. She's been around for so long. I think she should just be part of the Hall of Fame in general because she's opened the doors for so many people.
Also, I don't know what kind of like songwriting credits and things like that she's got.
Exactly.
So she might have some on some rock and roll stuff, and that might be why she's being inducted. So
exactly. She's in like an honoree, like people get honoree degrees.
Exactly. Right.
There you go.
Have you ever wanted to do that? I mean, have you ever wanted to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and stuff like that? Because now, as you said, now that you're with Lou, now that you're on Showtime, now that you have more of these connections, certain things will open up because, hey, they know people, or we have access to people, or hey, we have access to this here. So give me some non-boxing thing that you want to do that you're thinking about going, okay, I might be able to do this because either Lou knows somebody or Showtime people know somebody. Give me that one thing you're thinking of going, you know what, I want to do this now that I'm at that next level.
Yeah, you start to get to the next level. You start to think about those kind of things, being a star here in Nashville and growing a brand here in Nashville, Tennessee, Cheatham County area. I want to get in with a lot of the sports teams, all the Titans and Predators and Sounds. I know Lou has a great connection to the Nashville Sounds. I'd love to come out and do some stuff with them. With him owning some minor league baseball teams and things like that, I think they're in the same leagues. So anything I can do with any of the local sports and music people, I'm always trying to do, keep everything very tight knit in Tennessee. I think when everybody comes together, everything works a little better and you get a little more recognition and just networking and whatnot. So anything we can do together with Nashville people, we try to do.
What about being a judge?
Oh, that'd be pretty interesting,
right?
Actually. Doing some
or hosting stuff. Or announcing.
Yeah, we've had talks about that just because my dad and obviously Mario and them were like, man, you're a pretty good speaker. Like you might have a future in some of that stuff. And as my career grows, I definitely think that is something I might want to do. Who knows? Maybe start my own podcast, do some online stuff like that.
Sports, be a sports commentator. You never know.
Yeah. Like you said, all the business side of things. You got to look at some of these other athletes, how they did it. Look at Sean Porter, with PBC getting on there, and he's a great analyst, a great talker. So definitely somebody to model yourself after.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Thinking smart, thinking for the future. And I think a lot of people sometimes don't think about that or monetize themselves in the correct manner or utilize what's around them. For some reason, they're very short-sighted or they don't have people trying to help them brand themselves. I'm thinking, why in this modern day and age, why wouldn't they be doing so? That's just so odd to me.
Oh, yeah, I see a lot of fighters fighting on some of these TV fights, fighting on Fox, fighting on Showtime. And you look at their social media and you look at they're not really doing a whole lot. They don't have a whole lot of sponsors and things like that. Like that is prime viewing. You're on national TV and
Yes.
you don't have any logos on you. You don't have any. I get my promoter and whatnot. They joke all the time, like you out there, you look like a billboard. And I think that's the best thing you can possibly do.
Right?
So anything
Exactly.
business wise you can do, you got to do it. Yeah. If there's any young fighters listening, any amateurs, promote yourself, market yourself, because my co-manager Peter Fernandez always says there's life after boxing. And Lou DiBella has told me that also. No matter where your career goes, no matter how many millions of dollars you make, titles you win, there's life after boxing. So you got to be thinking about that.
See, and there you go. I think that's also really good advice. I think that's having a good head on your shoulders. And for anyone who thinks that, oh, there's no hope or you lost something, you know what? If you put yourself in a good position, you're not going to feel that way.
Of course.
So
there
you
you
already
go.
mentioned all this stuff, how Nashville sounds and all that. You want to get in touch with them. You, as you said, you're from Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
The mayor of I guess you have Kane, aka Glenn Jacobs, who is a mayor down there in Tennessee. You have Randy Orton. You got Miro. You got Bianca Blair. You got even other musicians. You got actors there. How do you go about getting into them so that you can do that cross promotion where maybe you have like, oh, by the way, your next fight out when it's in Tennessee, whether you fight on either ESPN or Showtime or even BBC. Oh, by the way, guess who's walking you down? It's, right now the former WWE, it's a WWE Hall of Famer and the one of the mayors of Knox County, Glenn Jacobs. Or, oh, by the way, there's Bianca Belair. Like, how do you go about you and your team getting like the cross promotion of other celebrities or cross promotion of people that you can do business for, they can do business for, and it helps all parties out?
Yeah, I think that some of the people that we already have on our team, they reach out to them, other celebrities and stuff. I know I feel like they've got a little better reach than I do as of right now. Maybe have them reach out. It's all about your team, your team and your network and who you can have to get in touch with these people and put you in touch with them kind of thing. I think that would be some of it, whether it's my publicist, whether I feel like they need to reach out and just put us in connection and then just let us work together.
All right. So do you have a crush on any celebrities? I feel like that's such a silly. People have asked me that. I personally don't. My crush is more
think of any off the top.
Or like on comic book characters, or that is like on Thor, or Aquaman or something.
Thor's a good looking guy. Yeah, right? For sure.
But he's not he's fictitious, but
right. I can't think of any off the top of my head. What a great question, though. I feel that's always been something that's come up. I always say that I feel like I'm attracted to people that don't have the fame and stuff just yet, because I'm still a young guy. Like I'm building myself up. I'd love to kind of build something with somebody instead of us already getting to the top and then connecting kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's a really good question, though.
Oh, there you go. So you want to find someone you can build something with. There you are, ladies.
Yes, build an empire. That's what I'm saying.
Was there any famous or even semi-famous person you'd love to have walk into the ring? Like I remember you had like Floyd Mayweather once Triple H. You had Marco Rubio get walked down by Mayans Emilio Rivera, aka Alvarez. Manny Pacquiao and Batista. You even had
that's pretty cool.
You've had rappers walk down with
cool.
Is there a celebrity where you're going, you know what? I want them to walk me down the ring here. This would be like a power couple here. Who is your like one celebrity thing going, you know what? I'd love to have this guy walk me down the ring. He can hold my belts, and I'll go, yep, he's part of my
Henry
team.
Cavill as the Witcher.
Yeah, there you go. No, I had some when I fought at Bridgestone. Obviously, Caleb Plant, who I'm close with, he had some rappers and whatnot walk out with him, and I thought that was a really cool look. My last fight, I did have Jelly Roll walk out with me. That was cool, so that one's off the list. And when I was fighting at Bridgestone specifically, I was like, man, when I'm on a main event with something like this, on a big stage like this in Tennessee, I wanted another Tennessee guy. I don't know if y'all know who Young Dolph is. He recently passed away, so that's not an opportunity anymore. But when I was making plans for that. I was like, man, like get somebody from Tennessee. He's from Memphis, so you just have that connection all together. Come out to a Dolph song, something like that. I feel like there's so many good choices on that. I feel like I'd have to think on that one a little bit, but that's the one that kind of came to my mind when that question got asked. It was like, man, I always want, because me and my friends, we'd always listen to Young Dolph and things like that. And I was like, oh, keep it in Tennessee and walk out with Dolph. I just feel like everybody go crazy. Another Nashville guy I thought would be pretty funny and a good walkout for a big event would be something like Kid Rock or something like that.
Kid Rock's pretty great.
Be a good one. Just with him
Especially
living here
with
in
his new
Nashville.
song. And he does like Tennessee whiskey. Do you like Tennessee whiskey?
I'm not a huge whiskey guy. I can't drink while I'm training, obviously. All that
That
gets
is
cut
true.
off.
I was gonna
10,
say,
12
but if you
weeks way
did,
off. No darks for me. I'm a clears guy.
so
Yeah.
you like the vodka.
Exactly. You called it right there.
There's no Tennessee.
It all comes back down. We mentioned to June 10th. It's the big fight here. You on none other than Showtime. It's going to be Chan Thompson here. It's a big card, as you said. You know, knockouts sell fights. You knock somebody out, and you're on right now a 4-fight knockout streak. All of a sudden, you get on bigger cards, bigger TV. Is there pressure to do that? Not just win now, but start going, okay, I got to start knocking out more guys. Knock out Chan Thompson, all of a sudden it's, hey, by the way, Tyler Tomlin, Tomlin looks pretty good. Maybe we should have a fight between Tyler Tomlin and, hey, dare I say, Robert Easter Jr., PBC on Fox. Let's put that on pay-per-view. I mean, is this the part now where you're going, okay, I got to start finishing more top fighters?
Yeah, definitely. You know, you're kind of at that point in your career, you're starting to get on some of these nationally televised events and things like that. You do feel some pressure to not only win, but win in fantastic fashion. I've always felt like that in all of my fights. I've got 9 knockouts out of the 13 fights, and I believe 2 or 3 of the fights I could have knocked the guys out if I just went in there with a little different game plan. So I always feel like I'm going for the knockout. You know, you try as you mature as a fighter to not look for it and just let it come. But there's part of me, something clicks, and I just want to get a finish in every single fight. So that doesn't change with this one. I want to come in there on June 10th. I'd love to just go in there in the first round and knock Chan Thompson out. But like I said, no matter how the fight goes, I'm prepared for it. If he wants to go 8 rounds and it be a chess match, I can beat him that way. If I want to come forward and put the pressure on him and get him out of there, I feel like I can do that.
Very heavily, gentlemen. Once again, we're proud to have on the show. They'll be fighting June 10th at the Hall of Fame weekend. I give you undefeated sensation and hopefully 2022 prospect of the year. I give you Tyler Tomlin. Tyler, before we let you go, so where can fans check you out at? Where is the Twitter page, Instagram, the website? Where can fans contact you at?
Yeah, definitely reach out, follow me, message me, all those different things. I try to interact as much as I can. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, both at _Ty Tomlin. And you can just type in tytomlin.com. We got the website up and running now. We're going to be putting some content out there on that. So give me a follow, drop a comment, shoot me a message, and I'd come out on June 10th and put on a great performance and just kind of see what's next.
Tyler Tomlin, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always our pleasure having the show. We come back. Stay tuned for more great action coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, only on It's Last Call. Last Call to the Alcohol, only on the Last Call YouTube channel.